You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode. How are my lovely co-hosts doing this week?
Very well, how are you?
So well. It's so great.
Good. You know, we've been doing this show for a while.
Really?
And
True.
Truly, yeah. We've talked on the show before about like things we thought were a thing when we were younger, and that didn't really end up being a thing like you encounter in the world. The quicksand,
like quicksand
is the classic example. Quicksand is completely real. It just isn't at all common, or at least as common as cartoons and movies and TV shows.
I'm still prepared, Kirk.
Well, my topic this week is kind of like that. Maybe.
Okay.
Like, I want to talk about something that entered my awareness. I'm not exactly sure when. It was one of those cultural things that just sort of I knew about, right? Maybe it was the late 80s. It was for sure like maybe a thing. We thought maybe it was a thing at the time. Rumors didn't spread on social media back then. They spread from person to person or from popular media. And this was one of those things you just heard about back in the day.
Okay.
So back in like the 80s, maybe the early 90s, maybe for some people the late 90s, I remember hearing that toad licking was a thing.
Oh, right. Like hallucinogenic toads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about toad licking this week.
Oh, man, did you hear about that teenager over in...
People are like licking toads.
From licking a
it's
toad?
also like parents are like, the kids are licking toads these days. That's what's going on out there. So I want to know, like, Victoria, clearly you heard about this. Rachel, was this a thing when you were growing up, toad licking, that the kids were talking about?
Not that I remember. I do remember hearing about, like, if you lick like a frog or a toad. I do remember hearing about it, but it really wasn't a thing.
Well, I don't mean like my friends were doing it. Like, it was like toad licking was people had heard of it, right?
Yeah, like we'd heard about it, and I think it was mostly like from like we vaguely heard about it, but it really wasn't much of a thing that we talked about.
No,
I will say I was a kid more memorably in the very late 90s, early aughts.
Sure.
So,
So I feel like this was just one of those things that it's not like people talked about all the time, but if someone mentioned toad licking, you'd be like, oh, of course, toad licking. Like, that was a thing people had heard of.
I mean, I will also say it sounds like what it is. Right?
Yes and no. That's what we're going to talk about.
I guess.
It's definitely part of like the cultural zeitgeist. There's even a reference to it, of course, in The Simpsons.
I was going to say, like, if it's on any TV show, it's going to be on The Simpsons.
You were like, it's on, and I'm like, it's going to be The Simpsons.
Yeah, it was the episode Missionary Impossible. Homer gets sent to a South Pacific island as a missionary. When he can't pay the $10,000 he pledges to PBS, they make him like work it off as a missionary.
For
a great
PBS,
concept.
Public
like PBS
Broadcasting
has that.
Station?
Yeah, PBS has that power. They're powerful. But he was on this island. He gets very bored. He's sitting in a hammock. He starts picking up different frogs and licking them. And he's like, nope. Oh, there we go. His pupils just dilate and stuff. It's a passing thing, but it's funny.
That's fun.
That episode came out in 2000. And by then, the idea of toad licking was so widespread in the culture that they really didn't even need to explain the joke, right? It was just, everyone was like, oh, yeah, of course. As I was preparing this, my wife reminded me that actually Beavis and Butthead also featured toad licking. And that was back in 1993. But again, by then, a lot of people probably already knew what it was. Maybe some people learned about it from Beavis and Butthead. So the idea of people licking toads to get high became a pop culture trope in the late 20th century, but the biological basis traces back to an actual species, and that is the Sonoran desert toad. And this toad species secretes a mixture of toxins from its parotid glands, which are the lumps just behind the head, right?
Okay.
And if you've ever seen a toad, up close, you'll see they have these big, I mean, they got kind of these, like people call them warts, or these bumps, but there's two big ones kind of back behind the head. And toads are really good at making these toxins. Here where we live, we mostly have the American toad, or perhaps a little bit to the west, the prairie toad, a little bit to the north, Canadian toad. They're all pretty closely related and pretty much look the same. Pretty much all toads can secrete this toxic, foul-tasting liquid that they can spread all over their body, and it's to avoid being predated. Toads taste bad. And animals
taste so bad.
Yeah,
I don't say this from experience. I
was going to say, is that experience? Yeah.
No.
Any animal that is stupid enough to try to eat a toad are often left throwing up and quite distressed. The American toad isn't fatal if ingested, but any animal that decided to nom on it is going to very quickly discover that they had a very poor choice in snack and need to choose more wisely next time. In humans, the practice of trying to get high from a toad has often been described as licking the toad, which is pretty unfortunate, as ingesting the toxins from the Sonoran desert toad orally is extremely dangerous. It can cause cardiac arrest, seizures, and even death.
Well, that sounds like a bad time.
Yeah.
That feels like a bad trip.
So what's really happening in reality is that people seeking psychoactive effects from toads typically collect, dry, and smoke the secretions rather than just picking up a toad and licking it. Okay. And it is a very real thing that people do. So how did this become this cultural phenomenon that even I heard about as a kid, living thousands of miles away from the Sonoran desert toad? Sort of this modern wave of interest can first be traced back to 1983, when a pamphlet started making the rounds titled Bufo alivarius, the psychedelic toad of the Sonoran desert. And this was published under the pseudonym Albert Most, and it described how to extract and smoke the toad's secretions. And people started passing this information around and photocopying it and passing it on. And it was this publication that directly sparked the recreational experimentation of getting high from toads. Which became, I think, in media coverage, kind of they started saying toad licking, although that's never been a thing. That's not how people do this. By the early 2000s, this trope had become widespread enough that the U.S. National Park Service actually issued a humorous but widely reported on warning telling visitors to not lick the toads. And this got, as you can imagine, a lot of attention in the media. And this is actually the same year as a Simpsons episode, so they may have been inspired by this National Park Service.
Oh, they probably were, yeah.
Thing that went out.
I love that so much. And honestly, if you don't, obviously you should follow us on social media, but if you don't follow the national parks on the social media, you're missing out on some pretty.
They put out some good stuff.
Things, yeah.
So why are people getting high off this toads stuff? We think it's supposed to be this really awful, foul tasting stuff. That's really its function. What's going on? Well, the Sonoran desert toad in particular produces this milky toxin that contains 5-MeO or MEO. I'm not sure. I think it's MEO DMT. And it's a powerful psychedelic that acts on your serotonin receptors. And the secretions also contain 5-HO-DMT, which actually has a common name. It's called bufotenin, which is another hallucinogenic tryptamine.
There
it is. Tryptamines
tryptamine.
There it is. Tryptamines are basically, they affect the serotonin in your brain. And that they can cause all kinds of things to happen. When I mention these two things, both of them end with DMT, which may sound familiar to some people. It's actually related to the much simpler named hallucinogen, which is simply DMT, which is found in plants such as ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca, yeah.
So, and DMT is actually a structural analog for the psychedelic found in magic mushrooms as well. So all of these are like very closely, slight different permutations of essentially the same molecule. And some of them act very fast, some of them act slower, but they all are kind of similar. And DMT is actually currently undergoing clinical trials for use in treating depression, which is pretty interesting. So why do toads have a bunch of psychedelic hallucinogens in them? These compounds actually evolved as defensive chemicals, and when threatened, the toad releases the toxins from those glands behind the eyes, and also on its legs. And in predators, ingestion, the predators are not drawing this and smoking it. They're ingesting it, and as we mentioned, if you ingest it, it can cause coma, cardiac arrest, and death. Oral exposure can also cause just cardiac arrhythmias, neurological symptoms, no doubt, but also seizures and respiratory distress. So very, very, very bad. Do not go out licking toads.
So who was the genius who first decided to smoke this stuff?
Well, it's
I
not
ask
really
this
clear.
question every day, Victoria, for
There's some
variety of topics.
Yeah, there's some speculation that's, I believe, not well documented, that there were perhaps some tribes who were using toads in this way, but that's not necessarily from traditional knowledge that was passed down as far as I understand it. That's from we found these ancient drawings of toads. And so toads, why were toads important to these people? Okay. And then it's sort of speculate. So it's sort of backward speculation at that point about maybe they just like frogs and toads. You gotta be a little careful with some of that sort of speculation, but could be possible. There have been multiple documented poisonings from people who ingested or decided to lick toads, including fatal cases. Toad toxins are really dangerous. It's not necessarily from licking toads, though. There's also some traditional Chinese medicine preparations that have toad secretions in them, and some of those have proved to be extremely dangerous. And people have bought what they think is going to be, something that's going to make them feel better, or something they think is going to be an aphrodisiac, and then it ends up killing them. So toad toxins are not something to joke around with. They can be extremely dangerous. And despite the cultural image of people like Homer licking toads, and despite the popularity of the term toad licking, there's really no evidence that licking was ever a common or widespread method of getting high. I think the method persisted because the idea was sensational and memorable, and the media picked up on it because it was pretty funny. I mean, the phrase toad licking is very funny.
It's objectively hilarious.
The image is objectively funny, so I think that's why it started to spread around. And the toxins can be absorbed orally, making the concept plausible, although a really, really bad idea because, cardiac arrest and respiratory failure and things like that generally are considered bad.
Don't lick toads.
Yeah, but people really did and still do smoke dried toad secretions. So let's talk about the legal stuff just really quickly here. The Sonoran desert toad has actually experienced long-term population declines of 30 to 50%, partially because of people probably harvesting them for drug use. It has actually been nearly wiped out in California. And we're not, it's hard. There's other reasons too, habitat loss, things like that. But also overcollection increases disease transmission and it disrupts breeding, which is a problem. As I was kind of looking into this, I did find, I will say that that actual compound, the 5-MeO DMT, is actually a Schedule I drug in the United States, which is the highest level of badness, I guess. And I found one little tidbit as I was reading through. I'm going to read this quote here for you. I found this online. It says, quote, "In Arizona, one may legally bag up to 10 toads with a fishing license, but it could constitute a criminal violation if it can be shown that one is in possession of the toad with the intent to smoke its secretions." And the whole idea of like
what a sentence.
Being in possession of a toad with intent to smoke its secretions.
Someone wrote that rule down.
I did not expect to come upon that sentence there. They're actually, I guess, apparently in like the subculture of people who are into this, there is, I guess, a lot of people encouraging the use of synthetic 5-MeO-DMT because it's something we can easily synthesize now to reduce pressure on wild populations, which seems prudent if that's the route people are going to take with that. Mm-hmm. So to kind of wrap things up, toad licking fad was a real cultural phenomenon, but the actual practice was misrepresented. People didn't smoke the toads or smoke this. People did smoke the toads. They didn't lick the toads, which is even weirder. And the fad, if people actually did it, carried serious medical risks and, did contribute to conservation problems. It does remain illegal. So maybe don't go out and, be doing that. But it's weird to think there's this like Schedule I drug in milky toad juice, which is very strange. And of course, a lot of people arguing that it should not be a Schedule I drug because it's not addictive. If taken correctly, it's they're looking actually at therapeutic uses for it, so it's not like crack or heroin.
There's a few things on the Schedule I list that shouldn't be there, probably.
Yeah, but I mean,
no one's asking us though.
Toad licking. That's what I got for you this week.
Weird,
my sources
Kirk,
were
weird.
I know it's fun. Arizona Fishing, Game and Fish, Science Insights, Wikipedia, the journal Biochemical Pharmacology, and Science News all had good information about toad licking. Well, that's how we started the show. It could go anywhere from here, man. All right, so we're going to take a short break. We're all going to lick some toads, and hopefully we'll be back with Rachel.
I'm not looking at toads. All right, welcome back, everyone. Wild thing, Kirk. So
yeah, that was pretty fun.
It was good. So on this show, we've talked about we've talked all sorts of animal relationships with each other, from parasitic relationships to commensal. Is it commensal?
You can do
it
it.
is commensalism.
Yeah.
Yep. As well as just like being next to each other. That's a thing. But when we think of like unlikely duos and like a beneficial relationship with each other, a commensal relationship. Mutual relationship. Thank you, Victoria. What are some unlikely duos that come across in your head?
Well, there's one I was going to talk about on the show at some point, which maybe it involves a what is it a badger?
Ooh, it's not that one.
Okay, I won't mention.
But
what
I've
it is
thought
then.
about that one. I have actually thought about that. Mm-hmm. No, it is
I
not
won't
that
ruin
one.
what it is then. Okay.
Well,
what are some weird pairs?
Well, is it the honey badger? We've talked about the honey badger and the honey guide.
Yeah.
You mean humans and honey guides?
Humans and honey guides.
Humans and honey guide. Yeah. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. We have talked about honey badgers. Yes.
We just talked about honey badgers recently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I recently talked about pistol shrimp and gobies.
Yep.
I believe Victoria was the one who talked about the giraffes and what was the bird?
Was it oxpecker?
Oxpeckers.
Yeah.
That was not so mutualistic.
No. I will say, Victoria, while I was, I stumbled across this topic because I was looking for pictures for our newsletter and our Instagram and such. Mm-hmm. And the picture that I ended up choosing came from a listicle that had my topic on there. And I was like, oh. Okay. Some other ones are like a dog and a cheetah, right? You don't expect that. But that seems to go really well.
No.
Okay.
Have I not talked about this on the show? I feel like when I talked about cheetahs, I talked about this. Oh, yeah.
Dogs and cheetahs are buddies?
Yeah, they give captive cheetahs. They'll give them a therapy.
Oh, maybe
dog.
you did talk about this.
I think I did.
Oh, I was thinking more. Okay, maybe.
To help soothe anxiety, it helps the cheetah feel nicer or like not as riddled with anxiety. The dog
Coco had
helps
a
keep
kitten?
them calm. Kind of, yeah. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so things like that, of that nature. But I did notice a pair that didn't make on that list, which is great because that is what we're going to be talking about today.
All right.
So let's introduce our first half of this duo.
Okay.
Our first half of the duo is actually, we're going a little more general today because this has been shown in multiple species within this family.
Okay.
It is the frog family, Microhelidae. And there's like hundreds of these frogs. I think they've described anywhere from 300 to 5. They've described 683 species in this.
Oh my.
Okay.
In this particular family, and there's 57 genera and 11 subfamilies. So it's a really big, wide family, and they are found throughout the world, not just in one space, which makes sense, which is a big family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, they have a couple of weird things about them, but in general, they are mostly small frogs. So the microhylids are little frogs. Most of them are a half inch in length in total. Okay, most of them are even smaller than that. Okay?
Whoa.
They can be arboreal, they can be terrestrial, and micro indeed. Now, there are some that get a little bit bigger that can be 3.5 inches in length, but that's still not huge. Generally, they are found in the thing that brings them all together is the fact their other name that they are known as narrow-mouthed frogs. Their body is like that of a typical frog. They've got legs, they've got arms. They're kind of in like a cone almost kind of, or cone or a triangular kind of shape. Their head is very pointed and their mouth is really small. So they have a really narrow mouth.
Okay.
Which, sure, why not, right? And they generally will eat termites and ants. And it also depends on whether or not they actually have narrow mouths or normal frog proportions. Again, nature laughs at our boxes. They're all related. We're just going to accept it. Some weird highlights of this particular group of frogs. Some of them that are found in New Guinea and Australia actually do not have tadpoles. They develop from the egg directly into their frog. Their adult frog form.
No metamorphosis.
No metamorphosis, which is really weird. And
That's very
then
weird.
the arboreal ones of this particular group, this family, because they are going from an egg to an adult frog, they can lay the eggs in the trees and they don't have to go to the ground, which is a big deal if you are an arboreal species.
Yeah, huge.
Much safer.
Yeah, much safer, way easier. All right. Now, these guys are found in forests all over, in like warm tropical spaces of North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Australia, generally in tropical or subtropical regions, okay?
Right.
And it really depends. But that's just and like their colors also really change. They're some of them are brown, some of them have blue or orange, some of them have stripes, some of them have spots, some of them look really dumb, and others look like a typical frog.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the species has like the most pointed nose I've ever, like, it is just like it is a triangle, and I'm like, what's your point? You're a frog. Why is your mouth not
Their
big?
nose is the point.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Thought that was pretty clear, Rachel.
That is really clear. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now that's one half of our duo.
Right. Yeah. I'm super curious what the second half. It's going to be like a elephant.
They have been found having a mutualistic relationship with tarantulas.
Tarantulas.
Now, these frogs are small enough. They are small enough that they would be on the menu for the tarantulas.
Do they make little saddles and ride them with like little cowboy hats? Because I'd be all in on that.
That would be really cool. I really wish they did do that, but they don't.
So you're saying no? Okay.
No.
What do they do?
What they do is they're sharing burrows and foraging areas with the spiders, with these large spiders that very much could eat them. Okay. Which sounds weird, right? Because the spiders that they're in this relationship with have been documented and seen eating other frogs, but they're not eating these frogs.
Whoa.
Okay.
What scientists have found is that these little guys have they apparently taste terrible.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
So that's
kind
one
of like,
piece.
I don't know, a toad.
Kind of like a toad. It's true. But they are actually able to like recognize, because of those chemical cues, they're able to recognize the frog. The tarantula is able to, the spider is able to recognize the frog. And since they are able to recognize the frog, they don't eat that frog.
Smart.
And what happens is the frog gets a little protection, right? Like they're not as worried about other spiders eating them. And they feel protected. And the spider, on the other hand, what is a very common thing for carrion in the forest, in the woods, if you're a spider and you're eating a frog or something else and you're done with your meal, here comes some ants, here comes some termites. The frog gets a snack. And often what scientists have found is that these ants and termites are actually really fond of their eggs, of these spiders' eggs. So it allows, they provide protection for the eggs of these tarantulas, of these spider species, which is really, which they guard their eggs. They don't just leave them, these species that they've seen this relationship happen.
Like the frogs guard the eggs? The spiders do?
Spiders are guarding the eggs.
Okay.
And the frogs as well. The frogs are going and eating and having this lovely snack. If there are ants or termites or anything that come by, they eat those. They're protecting those eggs. But we've also seen the protection happening for the frogs. Because they generally will be eaten by all sorts of things like raptors and other birds, other spider species. But this big spider is enough to deter this frog from being eaten.
I can see that. Yeah.
I'm not going to go towards a big spider for a frog.
I'm not going to mess with a tarantula.
No. So it was observed like multiple times and it's been documented a few different times with different species. So it seems to be some sort of relationship that is developed cross species
Oh yeah, multiple times, multiple places. That's very cool.
Multiple places, which is really, really cool. And I'm just thought the idea of a fun little spider, a big spider actually, a spider and a frog being buddies, that was really fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming out next year, Rachel's new children's book, Spider and Frog.
Kirk, I was about to say, it sounds like a great children's book idea.
Just
Brains
wait.
must work similarly.
Some days. So that is what I have for you all this week. Spider and Frog.
All right.
My sources this week. There's a lovely little paper from the Tapro Botanica, Banica?
What?
Boop, boop.
Tapro Banica Nature Conservation Society. It was submitted and accepted in 2009, so it's a little older, but the paper was called Mutualism in Ramanella Nagoi. Mana Mendra Arachi and Pithy.
Get it right, because people are writing this down right now.
Yogata, 2001, Amphipia Microhylidae, and Poecilotheria species, the spiders from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I think your hit rate just went down, Rachel.
I think it did.
How many species were in that? Is that 2 species?
So technically it was 2 species. And then I think there was some language barrier with mine other than Latin. So I will say it was probably 4 species.
Oh boy.
But I got the one earlier.
You did. So it puts us at 16. You're at 10 of 16. That hurts you.
And last week.
I counted last week's, Rachel. You are
yes.
You are that hurt your average for the year, but that's fine.
Yeah. That's okay. We're still early. So that was one. So there was some really great basic information from Wikipedia, and Animal Diversity had some really good information as well. We are going to take a quick break, and when we are done, we will go to Victoria. When we're done.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
This week's episode is brought to you by the Society of Strange. That's what we call our patrons over at patreon.com/strangebynature. Society members directly support the show they love, and depending on their level of support, get fun perks such as bonus content on select shows, insider photos, water bottle stickers, and here's a big one, every level of support gets every episode 100% ad-free. Come join the other lovers of the show, help keep this strange show going, and get those ad-free episodes. We'll see you all over at patreon.com/strangebynature.
Hey, we're back. One nature topic that I find endlessly fascinating and cool is mimicry. We've talked about various amazing nature mimics on the show over the years. So I did have to check carefully to make sure we hadn't covered today's topic before. Today, I am talking about caterpillars that look like snakes.
Oh,
cool. That's so fun. There's so many.
Yeah, there are quite a few, as it turns out. This is a match made in heaven, or, actually an evolution. But caterpillars are tasty little nuggets, and they do need something to protect themselves. Yummy. Some go the camouflage route. Some have distasteful or poisonous hairs. Some have bright warning coloration, often paired with a bitter taste or being poisonous. But, if you make yourself resemble a predator, that can also be a very effective way of keeping actual predators away from you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are actually a ton of caterpillars, as well as adult moths and butterflies, for that matter, that have eye spots. And this is kind of a good general deterrent. The feeling that something is watching you, like a predator, can work to keep birds, lizards, etc., away from eating them. And just sort of, if those eyes appear suddenly, that could be enough to scare them away sometimes. But some caterpillars do take it a little farther. So I'm not by any means covering all of the caterpillars that resemble snakes. I've picked a few that
there's so many.
especially liked. The first one I'll mention looks snake-like, but sort of like a cartoon snake. This is one that might be familiar to some of our U.S. listeners. This is the spicebush swallowtail.
Oh, yeah.
Papilio troilus, which is a common butterfly in the eastern half of the United States. And the various instars or developmental stages of the caterpillar all have eye spots, although the earlier instars sort of more resemble a bird dropping with eyes rather than a snake.
Yeah, that's fair.
However, in the fourth instar, the caterpillar turns a bright leafy green, and the eye spots are more and more pronounced and snake-like, and the thorax is wider, somewhat resembling the head of the common smooth green snake. Then the fifth and final instar, the caterpillar looks similar but turns a brilliant reddish-orange color. And to add to this effect, all caterpillars have an organ called an osmeterium, which is normally hidden, but it is forked in shape, much like a snake tongue.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think, this may not be unique to the spicebush swallowtail, but when the spicebush swallowtail caterpillar is threatened, it quickly sticks out its osmeterium, making the resemblance to a snake even greater because it looks like a snake flicking out its tongue.
Outstanding.
Moving on. I did send you an email with pictures.
Yes.
I'm looking at the pictures right now.
Okay. So I am next going to introduce you to the orange tip butterfly caterpillar of
This
South
one
and
is
Southeast Asia.
astounding.
Its Latin name is Hibomoya glaucipe.
Yeah.
The caterpillar
That
is green.
scary.
Yeah. How would you describe it?
It looks like a little mini green snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like it's a more muted green than maybe the snake it's pretending to be, but it has like the eye spots in the right spot in the right
The
area.
eyes are outstanding.
It's so good. It looks.
It has
again,
kind of a
looks like it's
scaly
little
looking
pointed
pattern
nose.
on its back. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
It is-
it looks like it has a mouth right between the eyes
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it's notably pointy at both ends, and yeah, it has that little, like, it looks like a closed snake mouth
little
when you
line,
look at it
yeah.
head on. Yeah, really good. So it looks very similar to the Asian vine snake, which inhabits
Sure
the same
does.
sort of range. Really, really good mimic. Okay, up next, not actually a caterpillar, but the pupa or chrysalis of the owl butterfly, Dinosaur darius, which is native to Central and South America. This
This one's
pupa,
wild.
it's so weird.
It looks like the snake, the chrysalis looks like the snake is about to puke up some food
Well,
on
it looks like
you.
it just swallowed something.
Oh,
honestly.
also that. Yeah. Oh.
I
don't
mean,
like
it's got scales. It's got this similar color pattern. It's got the big again the eyes, which are, this is a chrysalis. They're not even.
Yeah.
There are no eyes on a chrysalis.
Nope.
It's got a curved
goo.
and pointy shape, and it has those eye spots, and it strongly resembles the deadly Fertilance snake.
Amazing.
Just
That's
for our
wild.
listeners, the email I sent contains picture both of the caterpillar and the snake that it's supposed to be mimicking.
Yeah, we're gonna send this email to all of
Yeah.
you who are signed up for the newsletter. So if you have not done it, this is what are you waiting for? This is amazing. You're gonna want to see these.
All right.
Go to strangebynaturepodcast.com and sign up for free.
I'm making a note so that way I remember to do so, everybody.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we'll
these
have
are
to
so
we'll have to
cool.
credit the
Yeah. I will. Yeah.
place I found these from. Anyway, saving what I think is the best for last, the caterpillar of a sphinx moth called Hemeroplanes triptolemus. There are many kinds of sphinx moths, so this is not the only sphinx moth by any means. The back of this caterpillar is yellowish and is camouflaged to, I would say, resemble a plant stem, probably. However, if the caterpillar is disturbed, it twists around, revealing its brown underside. It rears up like a snake preparing to strike and inflates its head to a triangular shape.
That's the underside?
That's the underside. And it's little, if you look closely, you can see its little legs. The underside of its head and thorax become a nearly perfect replica of the brown vine snake.
It's really good.
See-through eyes and
it looks like it has scales.
Image.
It's got
yes.
glints.
It looks very scaly.
Glints of light coming off the eye spots.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Unreal.
How? I mean, I vaguely understand how, but also, whoa.
With this one, I had to look because I'm like, which one is the snake and which one is the caterpillar?
Wait, I've missed it.
You were looking at the wrong one?
I thought the snake was the caterpillar.
There you go.
You were talking about little legs, and I'm like, you did that a couple times, and I messed up in the last one, and then got on I'm like, wow, that really looks like a snake. I'm like, but I fully thought, okay, yep, I see the little legs now. I was so confused. It was like, why are these little legs? I don't see the little legs, but it's somewhere.
It's really amazing. And sometimes the caterpillar will even make a striking movement.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That was kind of the creme de la creme. That was really amazing.
That's amazing.
Mimicry is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got those images from a really great blog post on a blog called Reason and Nature, which was from April of 2022. I also, there was like a listicle article that kind of kicked off the idea from Tree Hugger, and then I got some background information from Wikipedia.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just had to share that.
So cool.
These are
Thank
wild.
you. Made my
Thanks,
day.
Victoria.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Just nice little
Can't wait to share those with everyone.
refresher to
It's going to be so good.
end up our episode, which has come to an end. I think I was the last one this time, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, you were. Oh my goodness.
Another fun
Alrighty.
week.
Thanks, y'all. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks everyone for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.